Hello everybody, this is Saint the Gamer, and tonight we're going to be learning how to salvage a Atlas Nomad. So the Atlas class is a either loved or hated class.
Have a nice day.
Reason being, the Quasar thrusters can sometimes be a pain in the ass to salvage. Everything else about them tends to be fairly standard, but the thrusters are decidedly not.
Salvage accepted. Credit applied.
So the first step to salvaging one of these is to come in and go ahead and depressurize the interior
Airlock
of the vessel.
depressurizing.
If you don't, then you're inevitably going to do something to breach it, and it's really going to suck when the whole thing blows up on you.
Airlock pressurizing.
Okay, we have a broken air filter there. Atmospheric regulator operates the air filter. Okay. So whenever I have a broken atmospheric regulator, I always come through and collect as many of these thruster fuels and oxygen tanks as I can, because it helps to prevent explosions if and when I go around and depressurize that area. That's broken. This one's functioning. And this one's tied into the component hole. Okay. That one's gonna blow up on me. Okay, so I think this is the only one I wasn't able to pick up. So now that we've cleared out the explosive items we can clear out.
Airlock depressurizing.
That one's fine. This room's gonna depressurize normally. There's nothing else in here that can go flying around. So let's go ahead and depressurize this room.
Air pressure level decreasing.
Stick that in there, just in case. Close that door. And now we can depressurize the cockpit. I like to do this by opening the doors because usually, not always, the doorway will not explode when you do it by opening the doors. Okay. So now that we've depressurized the ship, except the airlock, let's go depressurize that now.
Airlock depressurizing.
So now that we've depressurized the ship, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and take out this reactor. Super simple, super easy on the Nomads. On some of the other Atlases, it's a little more difficult, but not usually.
Object accepted for processing. Credit deposit.
On the Quasar thrusters, you're going to see these access panels. They just come straight off. Zero hassle. Thruster nozzles come off like so. Go ahead and barge it. Now, this is the Quasar thruster. In order to take this thing out, you have to cut these cut points on the fuel pipes, which is going to light them on fire, as you can see. Be careful not to crush the thruster itself, because if you do, it's going to explode on you. Lots of chances for explosions on this ship. Now you have to fly through the flaming thrusters, hopefully not lighting yourself on fire in the process. Get around these regulators and get to this fuel shut-off switch. Now, some people have claimed there's a bug that's going to crush you when you separate the thrusters. I have not encountered this bug if it exists. I'm not saying it doesn't, I'm saying that in the lots of hours I've played, I've never seen it. another second thruster now.
Credits awarded.
Now you might wonder why we're doing this now instead of later. The reason being is that the ship... Come on, let's come out. Thank you. The reason being, the quasar thrusters are currently connected to the ship, which means that the ship's mass is stopping them from moving around. If we started taking apart the ship's mass might not be enough to hold it in place when you separate these thrusters. So you can do them later if you want, but you run the risk of the thrusters moving around and even moving the ship around if you remove too much of the ship's mass prior to salvaging them. It's easiest to do it just after you depressurize the ship, in my opinion.
Thruster unstable. Fire hazard risk high.
Alright, and there we have it. All three thrusters have now been cut open. The thrusters themselves are salvaged. Now let's get the panels. This is another issue where many people claim that the panels get stuck to the side here and refuse to go into the processor. I have not had an issue with this. Okay, that's a lie. I've had a small issue here and there, but it's not something that I've ever needed to actually take time to resolve. Oh shit, those are on two separate panels. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, I don't have those tethers. Okay, I'll just leave that there for now. So now that we have those open, it's easy to take these fuel tanks out, go and punt them into the barge, put out the fuel injectors. And that is now salvaged.
Salvage goal obtained. Additional rewards assigned. Salvage deposit secured. Credits awarded. Salvage
Did
secured.
something blow up?
Applying credit.
What the hell?
Valuable object accepted for processing.
I have no idea what might have just blown up. That's interesting. Let's go find out. Because if the ship's about to explode on me, I'd really like to know. Oh, you know what? It's a thruster fuel. I bet those are the extra 1, 2, 3 in the airlock. I bet they just ran into something.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Okay.
Salvage deposit confirmed. Applying credit.
So now that we're here, we can't take out the bottom panels here until we take out that bottom quasar. And the bottom quasar is currently blocked by these side panels. The side panels here have wings that are going to stop you from pulling them out. Let me go show you those. This wing right here is going to stop you from pulling out that bottom thruster. So what you got to do is come back into here and cut off the sides. I wonder why this guy hasn't moved yet. There we go.
Five minutes left, Cutter. You know what you're doing? Okay. credit applied.
Did that shift the whole ship? Interesting. Alright, well I guess this is what we're working with now.
Salvage deposit secured. Credits awarded. Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Now some people swear by the tethers and say that you should only use tethers or almost always using tethers. I've always been really a big fan of the charge push. There's nothing wrong with using tethers, and that is in fact the best way to play the game, is to use them as much as possible. But I just really like the charge push. That's just the way that I've always done it. No rhyme or reason to it there. So find the method that works for you, just stick with it, I suppose.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited. Salvage registered. Transferring credits.
Right side turn on the side like this, it's really easy for us to salvage these cargo units back here. You don't have to worry about cutting them. They are grade 4, so even a demo charge I don't think could go through that. I'd have to double check the demo charges, but either way you're not going to be using demo charges on the ship, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so now let's get working on these. Now because the ship turns sideways, it's going to make getting the quasar thruster out from around the fuel injector just a little bit awkward. There we go, that should do it. If you have not upgraded your grapple to the highest charge push setting, you may not be able to push the quasar thrusters like that. They're just super heavy objects. But do your best. That's all that you can ask for. You'll notice that I will absolutely not be getting the ship done in the 15-minute shift. I've never worried about that too much. Even though I do play on standard difficulty, I just go through the ships at my own pace, the pace that I need to go through them to make sure I get the job done right, and I don't kill myself in the process. That's another thing many folk are concerned about, is they want to get through every ship in a single shift, and in the early game, that may be possible. In the late game, it gets to be very difficult, and I'm just not worried about it. Dude, seriously.
Applying credits to account.
There we go. Okay.
Salvage goal met. Rewards will be paid.
Okay. So this whole side has been cut off. And let's
1 minute left to finish things up,
barge
Cutter.
it, process it.
Processing valuable deposit. Credits transferred. Salvage deposit confirmed. Applying credit. Salvage deposited. Applying credit to account. Salvage deposit secured. Credits awarded.
Okay, so that's the end of our first shift. Now let's go into a second shift and we'll finish the job.
Good morning, Cutter. It's time to begin your workday.
Valuable object accepted for processing.
Okay, so now that we've gotten most of the outside of the ship out of the way, we've gotten rid of the quasar thrusters, we've gotten rid of the fuel, the ship should be fairly straightforward from here. It's just basically going to be going through and barging the entire interior of the ship. There shouldn't be too much else outside of that for us to handle.
Tether supplies are dropping.
Processor deposit accepted. Credits awarded. Salvage registered. Transferring credits.
Oh shit, no.
Processing valuable object.
Okay.
Credits awarded.
Whew. Well, that was a really close call. Let's try not to die.
Salvage secured. Applying credits.
The music in this game is absolutely fantastic. And that thing's still stuck to the ceiling, that's interesting. Let's
Object
process it.
accepted for processing.
Okay.
Credits deposited.
The best way to cut these out, you'll see these in empty ships, is to go through and try to do both of the panels on both sides. That's just going to cut the amount of time it's going to take you to get them apart in half. That's not always possible, especially on the javelins. You'll often...
Caution. Tether supply depleted.
Especially on the javelins, you'll often run into it where one side of a room will have one of those bar panels and the other one won't, but it's something you should try and do if you can.
Tethers restored.
Okay.
Object processed. Transferring credits. Salvage accepted. Credit applied.
One thing that it is worth barging now that it was not worth barging in some of the earlier versions of the game are doors. Doors are actually worth quite a bit now, which is really surprising because that was not the case during early access. And so I highly recommend barging all the doors now. It's kind of one of those little items that you probably wouldn't think about trying to barge until you realize just how much they're worth. I mean, you take a look at this one, for example. This was attached to an airlock, so it goes through. That thing's worth over 100,000 credits. It's huge. It'll pop up here on the left here in just a second. Oh, airlock console, 84,000, my bad. It's still worth quite a bit.
Credits deposited.
Oh, is it not going to let us take that out? I wonder if it's connected to something that should be barged. The lights. That's what did it. No, it still does not want to come out. Alright, well, I guess we lost it. A lot of times you can pull out things that should not have been barged and go throw them into the right area, but I suppose that piece just did not want to do that.
Salvage deposit confirmed. Applying credit. Salvage deposit secured. Credits awarded.
Okay. And then we still have the cockpit, but is everything else empty? I believe that it is.
Salvage secured. Applying credit.
Okay.
Salvage secured.
So now we've reached our 5th salvage goal, so we could stop right now, and because there's not a whole lot of incentive in the game to keep going, we're going to keep going anyway. Because why the hell not? Let's see. Okay, good, that has been detached. So one of the things I like to do is you go through the cockpit just like I did there, and you tether everything off of the walls so it's all just floating there. But then instead of pulling it out of the cockpit, you go ahead and leave it there while you send the ship into the furnace. And what should happen, if you've done it correctly, is the ship's going to get pulled, but the objects in the cockpit are not going to go with it because they're no longer attached to the walls. So they come out, and that makes it really easy for you to just go ahead and push them into the barge.
Salvage accepted. Credit applied.
Alright, there we go.
Salvage deposit
Let's
registered.
push that into the
Account
furnace.
credited.
And there you have it, Atlas Nomad. And so once you have one of the atlases down, it's really easy to salvage all of the other atlases because the insides are just like the inside of any other ship. It's not going to be too difficult for you to get the hang of those. And the Quasar thrusters, once you've done it once, you've done it 1,000 times. It's every single one is going to be the exact same. And so once you get used to salvaging one type of atlas, all the others should go ahead and come to you pretty easily. Anyway, this has been Sitting Gamer, and thank you so much for watching my video. Have a great day.